Stephanie Hoffman, and on this episode of Metal America, we're at Mill Mechanical in Monroe, Ohio, and we're going to see what goes on inside of an industrial job shop. I'm Stephanie Hoffman, and I've been in the welding industry for more than 20 years, working as a welder, fabricator, instructor, and now with the American Welding Society. Where I get to travel the country meeting people who are building incredible things while introducing the next generation to careers in welding and metal fabrication. So I'm here with Dave Rubin, and Dave Rubin is one of the partners here at Mill Mechanical, and he's going to be showing us a little bit about what goes on in an industrial job shop, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of, jobs am I going to see today?
Big ones. We do a lot of industrial work. Everything is kind of large scale, relatively speaking. And it's like you said, it's a job shop, so it's something different each time.
Okay, so where a lot of people might think, if you're working in an industrial setting, sometimes it's like very monotonous, repetitive work. You're building the same, big things over and over and over again, but every day your employees are working on something completely different, basically.
That sums it up. Yeah, we never know what's going to come through the door. A big production run for us might be 100, and that's rare if at all.
Wow.
We do a lot of repeat work, but it's usually like onesies, twosies, sometimes 3 or 4,
okay.
But a lot of big custom stuff.
So
yeah.
For industrial job shop, what kind of jobs are focused here?
We primarily focus on parts and pieces that support the steel mill industry.
Okay, so the steel mill industry.
Yeah.
So we're talking like foundries where they're actually like shaping and forming and making the metal?
No, well, yeah, the second half of what you just said. Not so much foundries, but
okay.
actual steel production from recycled and raw material directly to big coils of steel.
Okay.
If ever you've been on the highway and you've seen a big semi driving down the road with like this humongous coil, that's what the final product is of the industry that we support.
Awesome. How many employees are we looking at here a year?
The sum total between all the guys, office floor, and everyone in between is about 25.
And when it comes to your hiring process here at Mill Mechanical, are you looking for any, specific training, certifications? What kind of things are you looking for people coming in?
What I look for in a welder is somebody who's able to pass a D1 test and a D14 test, which allows them to work on overhead cranes, because we do a lot of crane work.
Yeah.
Experience is always a plus.
Right.
You can't deny that. Now, not to say that we've not hired and worked closely with younger people.
Right.
That's worked out well too in the past. Experience is huge.
Yeah.
We do a lot of print work. Typically with our guys, you'll get a pile of material, and our guys need to see it all the way through, from like a pallet full of parts to potentially cutting, drilling, beveling, whatnot, assembling it, fitting it, assembling it, welding it out, and then off to machine or to the next stage.
Unlike other shops that people might think of, it's not assembly line style. It's more like one worker will get the job, and they're gonna, they're starting it from the prep to the weld out to, seeing it through to get painted.
Yeah,
or
totally.
has to get done.
Yeah, we see things from the beginning to the end.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
All the guys, there's a lot of responsibility with each guy, because of that.
Yeah.
We don't like necessarily have like a fitter and then a welder and then a
Right.
finisher. It's just you get it all.
So you have to be very multifaceted here at a shop like this.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So over here we've got kind of midstream process of a top stir lance, and what this is a track. However, it's laying down, it stands up vertically, and there's kind of a carriage, so to speak, that travels up and down it.
So how long will a piece like this take to complete?
Oh, many weeks.
Really?
Many weeks.
So one guy's working on it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it could be up to several months depending on how complex the part is.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are probably looking at stuff like this and going, well, how is one guy working on this? Like moving it around, just working around it. It seems a bit intimidating for one guy, but it looks like you've got some help around here.
We do. We have overhead cranes. We have several forklifts.
Yeah.
And you know, I've said this forever, whether it's a part that you can fit in your hand or something that's got to get on a boat and float across the ocean, the approach and the sense is the same. I mean, the idea, the concept of working on it is very similar. There's more parts, there's more pieces, but when you really start to pick these things apart and boil them down, it's a very similar approach to big or small parts.
So for people who are smaller in size like myself, and if I was coming into this career for the first time, seeing stuff like this, I shouldn't be necessarily intimidated and say, I can't do work like this.
Absolutely not.
All right,
No,
that's good to know. So if you're tiny, 4'11" human like myself, you've got cranes and forklifts. You don't need to be a one-man, lifting everything heavy in sight, right? All right, let's check out the next massive thing that you guys are building.
All right.
So Dave, we're at another massive piece of steel. This looks to be about what, a 3-inch ring by, what is that, 8 foot or so?
Yeah, the OD of this thing is 108 inches. The ID, I think, is like 98.
Yeah.
You're right, it's a 3-inch thick flange. It's basically a flange for a tank head.
And
for a what? Tank head.
A tank head.
What looks like a big dome.
Okay.
That gets welded inside of this thing.
All right. Not food grade, obviously.
No, you're not eating out of this thing. Definitely not.
So what's he setting up over there?
That is our...
Looks like a track burner?
Yeah, pretty much. But what's unique about that one is it doesn't need track.
What is it, like magnetic?
It is. It can drive on the table, the floor. It can drive on the wall if it's steel and magnetized. It's pretty cool.
I've never seen one of these things. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, with this one, it's neat because we're in a ring, so it just basically pushes against the side and stays put.
Awesome.
And it'll do anything we need it to do. It can burn. It can
So
plasma
is he
cut.
like beveling? It looks like he has a set for a bevel right now.
Yep.
So that's prepping. He's going to get ready to weld this, or what's he welding to this now?
Well, what happened with this ring is this was already in service, and the head was damaged. So rather than make a new ring, we were able to cut this ring off of the head and repurpose it.
Right.
So right now we're just cleaning it up, getting it ready to go back into a new tank head. So we're gonna go through, we cut all the old weld off, we're gonna re-bevel it, then machine it, then clean it, then reinstall it.
You're gonna machine this? What are you gonna machine this with? This is massive.
We've got some pretty big tools next door.
So you got a machine shop in here too?
True story.
Can we check that out now?
We sure can.
All right, let's go check it out.
All right.
Dave, it looks like we made it to the machine shop. You really do it all here, huh?
It's true, we do.
What kind of machines do we see?
Here we've got a 4-axis Haas mill. Kevin just finished up these parts. These are pretty interesting. These are drive shafts for crane wheels. What this started out as was basically a big, solid, rusty-looking round.
Really?
Of I think this is 4140 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And he'll come in and just do the works to all these things. And get
How
it to what
long
you
would
see.
one of these take to make?
Oh, I'd say probably a day or so.
Really?
Per shaft, yeah.
That seems almost fast. That's a lot of material to take down.
It is, but between going from the lathe back to the machine and do the finishing touches to it, the guys have it down to the sides.
Awesome, awesome. So can we check out one of the lathes?
Sure.
So tell me about this lathe.
So what we got going on over here is a disc roll shaft that's being turned down back to clean metal. When they come in, the used ones, they're pretty beat up.
Yeah.
So we throw them up in the lathe, we clean them all up, back to spec, or at least undersized a little bit, and then we can roll, or rather weld new discs onto the shaft.
Oh, wow.
This gets individual discs. It almost looks like donuts. About 9 of them.
Is that what those lines in there are
Exactly.
for?
Those are the former welds that were welded on there, keeping
and
the
this
discs.
is solid.
That's a solid shaft.
And where do these go into?
These go into the caster line. So when steel is actually produced with the steel mills that we work with, it's a slab mill. So a giant slab of steel, anywhere from 5 to 6 feet wide and about 9 inches thick. Like imagine a massive Play-Doh factory just squishing steel out.
That's kind of like almost forming and shaping the steel. Is that what that helps do?
This actually just catches it. This is just like a conveyor line.
Oh, wow.
That this massive slab of freshly casted steel comes out and rolls across it. Exactly.
Wow, really interesting stuff. So Dave, you're letting me weld. I'm really, really excited because not everywhere I go do they let me weld. So I'm noticing one problem here.
What's that?
There's already weld here.
That's got to go.
So it's got to go, and that's not a grinder.
Nope, this is an arc gouger. This is about to be your best friend.
So I've only used one of these one time. And
lots of amperage and lots of air.
Yeah.
And a consumable electrode that's made out of carbon. This basically takes away what you've put in there.
Yeah, so we're gonna remove this section of weld. There's quite a few passes in here.
Yes, there are.
How many of these little rods are we gonna go through?
We might burn through 2 or 3 of them.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow, this really does move a lot of material.
It does.
These are really light. This thing looks like it would be like pretty dense and solid, right? But it's like weighs as much as a pencil.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just carbon, just like what's in, almost like graphite, like what's in the pencil.
So why does mine have a black tip on it and yours doesn't?
Because mine's broken and yours not.
I got the good stuff.
You do.
All right, well, let's I'm gonna have to change a little bit.
Probably.
It's gonna get messy.
You might get a little burn up.
All right, so I'm gonna change and then we're gonna get to arc gouging.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is with our arc air torch, we're going to remove some of this weld with our gouge rod.
Okay.
And so the way this works is basically I've got a power source that's pumping tons of amperage through this electrode. And combined with compressed air, if you can see, there's little holes in the holder. So that's where the air escapes and basically blows all of our steel out of the way as we go along.
So this is gonna get messy.
It's gonna get messy, it's gonna get loud.
Okay.
Lots of sparks, big fire show. So you put your rod in there, turn the air on.
So no specific placement, you're just kind of sticking it in there?
Well, no, there is actually. You always want the air behind your rod.
Okay.
So you know, if you're traveling this way, the air is on the side of the part.
Okay.
Otherwise, it blows that slag back into
where you're
the
cutting.
cut that you just made.
Got it. Okay. I'm a little nervous. All right, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Dave, that was freaking awesome. Now, what's the next step? We did like 3 passes on this.
Yeah, it comes out quick. You saw it. I mean, it's way faster than welding.
Yeah.
Taking it out is a lot quicker.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the next step is, we've got a pretty clean cut here. I mean, truth be told, this looks really good.
Not bad for my, really one of my very first times.
I think you're lying to me. Anyhow, next step, we're gonna go in with a wire wheel, grinder, just clean out the debris, get it
Okay.
cleaned up nice and shiny, and then we're gonna weld it back up.
All right. Dave and I just had a blast putting down some 16 dual shield flux core. We did about, what, 4 passes?
We did.
And basically no time flat.
It was quick.
But unfortunately, my time here has run flat, and I gotta go home and eat some dinner. So, thanks
So does
so
that
much.
mean does that mean you're not taking the job?
No, I'm not. I gotta go back home.